Well, friends, it's officially Halloween week, and we're wrapping up yet again another Halloween season here at the Disneyland Resort. So how do they do this year, and what could they do to improve Halloween next year? Let's look back on what is arguably the second most popular time of the year at the Disneyland Resort. So obviously the thing that they got right are massive crowds. Halloween has basically turned the park from the now end of August all the way up to the end of October as probably the second busiest time at the Disneyland Resort. And it's funny because earlier this week, I was in a corporate client presentation, and one of the owners of a local company was talking about they started working at Knott's when they were younger, and they would work during the summer, and then in the fall they'd get laid off because there was no longer any crowds because everybody came for the summer season. So I gave my presentation, which was all about storytelling. I said, you know, it's funny that you used to get laid off at the end of the summer season, because now the summer season is the slow season for the theme parks in Southern California, because the busy season is now Halloween into the holidays. And why is that the busy season? Because of storytelling. And so it was a really great transition to talk about everything I was talking about that day, but in a way that it allowed everybody in that boardroom to really kind of think about, right, what story are we telling? And what is the power of storytelling? So one of the reasons why people love coming this time of year is because A, people love Disney magic, B, people love holiday magic, but when you put the two together, you get a rare cinematic blend that just takes all of your senses and it just pushes it up a little bit more. It just makes it feel like the Halloween that we saw as kids on TV, and every adult is basically chasing what they saw as a kid. So with all the extra pageantry of decorations and unique experiences, for example, like the Haunted Mansion Holiday Overlay, it's easy to see why this has become one of the most popular times to visit Disneyland and one of the most popular Halloween traditions in Southern California. But there are a couple of things that I feel like I should point out. Haunted Mansion Holiday will be hitting its 25th anniversary next year, and really hasn't changed that much other than the gingerbread cake. Maybe a refresh on that is long overdue. Also, I know a lot of fans argue it's too much having that attraction go down in August and then resurface as the traditional Haunted Mansion sometime in late January, early February, means that essentially for about half the year, it's not the original attraction. And a lot of people, because of vacation time and traveling time that cooperates with their schedule, the only time they ever get to see it is in the holiday version, and that upsets them. But I'll tell you this, from a corporation's perspective, the way that thing jams the lightning lane and the standby queue, and the way that they redesign the entire attraction to accommodate more guests this time of year, got bad news for you. It's just not going to happen, because it is the absolute home run in this park during the Halloween season. However, I would like to maybe suggest that they could decorate the new additions to the Haunted Mansion. I was very disappointed to see that all of the new gardens outside had no Halloween decor whatsoever. So you're telling me that you can afford a mansion and you can afford to decorate it for the holidays, but you can't afford to decorate your new garden that you just added on. Just a little nitpicking, but I would also argue that maybe it's time for a second massive Halloween overlay here at the park. Because when we look at haunted storylines inside of Disneyland, we're not short on them. And the second most haunted attraction is Big Thunder Mountain. After all, the storyline is that people abandoned Rainbow Ridge because things were going wrong on the mountain when the trains started operating themselves. So with the use of projection equipment, it would be easy to make a scary projection on the outside skin of Big Thunder Mountain. It would also be easy to decorate Rainbow Ridge for the ghost town Halloween effect. And then there's also the back path there. If that back path was decorated for Halloween with projections, something that could easily be turned on every single night and would really bring out even more people to a different corner of the park, therefore kind of spreading out the Halloween. So you'd have Halloween over at the mansion, over at Big Thunder, and then people along the banks of the rivers of America to see Fantasmic, which would essentially make it kind of a whole Halloween cul-de-sac over there. Which brings me to another little suggestion or prediction for next year, where we're going to see a tremendous amount of construction happening at Disneyland. Because I do anticipate Oogie Boogie Bash will stay over at DCA, even though there's going to be a lot of construction going on. By this time next year, the Coco area will be having construction happening, as well as what's happening over at Avengers Campus. That project's only going to get bigger, and possibly something happening in the Hollywood backlot. Don't forget, Monsters, Inc. is shutting down at the end of this year, beginning of next year, and so something is happening there, but we're not quite sure yet. But they're not going to stop doing Oogie Boogie Bash over at DCA. Let me explain. Disneyland is insanely popular, and its popularity means that it's normally bursting at the seams. So during the busiest time of the year, you take the busiest park and you amplify that. When we saw the top 10, top 20 popular theme parks get listed just a week or so ago, DCA is far down on that list, and it has a competitive edge over all the other parks on that list. It's literally steps away from Disneyland, second most popular theme park in the world, only eclipsed by Magic Kingdom, which is the world's biggest vacation destination. So the idea of Oogie Boogie Bash is to A, increase the calendar days. It gives basically the corporation 30 more days on the calendar. So DCA has a 395-day calendar, and the rest of us just live in a 365. That gives them the availability to charge more, bring in more money, and keep hitting those quarterly and annual goals so that the corporation is growing and not shrinking, and all the fat cats get to keep their jobs and get their bonuses that are way more than the employees make. Don't you love America? But it also, importantly, during the busy time of the year, it takes some of the weight off of Disneyland. Although one might argue that it puts the weight on it when on Oogie Boogie nights, if you don't have a ticket, everybody is forced to go to Disneyland. So there's a little bit of a balancing act there, but I do not see them moving that over to Disneyland because DCA just can't compete. And if it becomes the default, because everybody's over here, like it was during Mickey's Not So Scary, a lot of people will just stay home or not book that night. So the goal is always, even though we don't like this, to keep the parks as packed as possible every single day. Keep them packed, keep people spending, keep them humming along. Taking Oogie Boogie, moving it across the Esplanade works against all those core goals. So you're saying to yourself, well, Brickey, if it's the busiest time of year, why does Disney need to do anything to Halloween at Disneyland? Why not just let it ride the way it is? If it's not broke, don't fix it. And you're half right, but it is starting to get a reputation of getting a little bit old and a little bit stale. And in this cycle that we all live in the attention economy, people need to see something new to feel motivated. After all, FOMO is what's fueling the absolute golden renaissance of the theme parks. So just adding Big Thunder Mountain as part of the holiday Halloween overlay would mean that there'd be a new reason to go. And it would also disperse people more evenly with Halloween offerings flanking each other on each side of the rivers of America. Because right now, if you do come here for Halloween, and a lot of people do, they all have to flock to the same location, therefore creating a tremendous amount of unevenness at the theme park. So just little things like new decorations, maybe updating what they do at the castle. I mean, Hollow Screams is a fine fireworks show, but think about how the castle gets used all throughout the day as a photo spot. If they were to actually put a budget into a Halloween-themed castle, that would make those photos even more increase. And what do those photos do? They fuel the fire, which is the FOMO that makes people feel like they are fear of missing out on something that's truly special for not only them, this is the important part, but their kids. Oh my God, am I a horrible parent because I'm not giving my kids the full Halloween experience? That is where social media manipulates your emotions. If you're not here, you're missing out. So when Disney increases those offerings, what are they doing? They're increasing the storytelling. And that storytelling is what motivates people to spend and come out to the resort to make sure that they're giving themselves and their family everything that they deserve to make their little Halloween heart feel full. So even though DCA will probably logistically be a mess, I do expect it to be home of Oogie Boogie Bash. And what I would expect for Disneyland to do is to try to find a way to refreshen the Halloween offering at Disneyland. This year, they cut the hours down to 11 o'clock. They cut the amount of characters down that are walking around the park, and they just didn't really offer anything new. And as I'm at the park a lot by myself, I heard a lot of people complain it's just the same old that it was last year. And in fact, I even heard some people say, I think we're going to sit out next year because it just doesn't change. Now, even though the attendance is on the rise, if Disney wants to keep making those new projection goals, they have to start giving guests new reasons to come back and new reasons to share online to influence the next tier of guests to come back. It's all a big symbiotic relationship, and it all starts with storytelling. The better they tell a Halloween story and the sooner they tell a new story, the more people will want to hear and share in that experience. I have had, yet again, another fun Halloween inside of Disneyland and DCA. Went to one Oogie Boogie Bash. That's all I need to do is one, and I mainly do it not to see the event itself, but to see you. The opening night is full of excitement, and it has all the citizens of Disneyland that come out. But I've heard many people say that they're kind of done with the event until it refreshes. And with people having the perception that the park's going to be a mess, next year might be the year to swing out a couple of new offerings so people go, you know what? I do want to come back, and I do want to visit a Halloween party inside of a theme park that is fundamentally kind of broken right now so that it can grow in the future. And why is that growth being implemented? Well, to compete with its next door neighbor and try to move higher up on that list, because it is embarrassing how low it is when once again it has the #2 theme park just steps from its front gate. Have expectations that everything will kind of be the same. But if Disney were smart, they would start thinking about it's time to refresh, and it's time to give people a new reason to come back, and most importantly, a new reason to share. So is it worth it? I think that it's worth it. If you're already coming down for other reasons, I could see the value. If you're local, it's absolutely worth it. Bringing the family down, airfare, hotels, don't know if that is necessarily worth it, just because it's so expensive and the park is so slammed out that it's kind of hard to make the most of it sometimes. But then again, I don't know how much Halloween means to you and your family, and you're willing to go low and slow because that's what it means to you. That's my review. I had fun, it was great, felt a little bit the same, and that's what I heard from others. Comment below, what did you think about Halloween this year at the Disneyland Resort? Did you come out? Are you coming out next year? Does any of this go along with you? And I know that I promised a fully fledged out projection of what I was seeing for Big Thunder Mountain as a Halloween attraction. As I said earlier in today's video, I had some corporate work that I had to take care of, and it ate up a lot of time this month. So didn't quite get to do everything I wanted, but hey, there's always next year, right? Or maybe this week if I catch a lucky break. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for being a part of this community and having these conversations with me. I appreciate you. And if I don't see you before Friday, happy Halloween.